Have you ever experienced bananas turning black after a few days in the refrigerator, no longer looking as fresh as when you first bought them? This is a plate of bananas I just took out of the refrigerator. You can see that a lot of the peels have turned black, leading many to think the bananas are spoiled and should be thrown away. So, is there a way to keep bananas fresh longer and prevent them from turning black during storage? In today's video, I'll share some simple tips that you can easily do at home and see how effective they are. Let's get started. First, I'll share a tip for preserving bananas using aluminum foil. With this method, I prepare a bunch of bananas that are just ripe. I choose bananas that are evenly yellow, not bruised, or have many dark spots for better preservation. Next, I take a sheet of aluminum foil and wrap it tightly around the stem of the bunch of bananas. I wrap it tightly around the stem and gently press it down so that the foil adheres firmly to the surface, avoiding leaving too many gaps. Many of you might wonder why only the stem needs to be wrapped and not the whole banana. In fact, the stem is where bananas release the most ethylene gas. This is a natural gas produced by the fruit during ripening. By wrapping the stem tightly, the amount of ethylene gas released to other bananas in the bunch can be reduced, thereby slowing down the ripening rate of the entire bunch. The actual effectiveness will depend on the initial ripeness of the bananas and the storage conditions, but this is a tip that many people use. After wrapping the bananas, I thread a string through the stem and hang the bunch in a dry, cool place. Away from direct sunlight. Hanging the bananas prevents them from pressing against each other or coming into contact with the table for extended periods, thus minimizing bruising and preventing them from turning brown faster. Tip number 2. Preserving bananas with avocado. First, prepare a bowl of clean water and add about a teaspoon of salt. Then, stir well until the salt is completely dissolved in the water. Next, gently place the bunch of bananas into the salt water. Use a soft cloth to carefully wipe each banana, focusing on cleaning the entire outer peel. During transportation and display, banana peels may accumulate dust or other impurities, so this cleaning step will help to clean the surface of the fruit before preservation. After wiping, do not rinse with clean water. Leave it as is. Next, use a dry cloth to thoroughly wipe the entire bunch of bananas to remove any remaining water on the peel. Pay special attention to drying the stem and areas where water tends to accumulate, because if the bananas are still damp when preserved, the peel surface may brown more quickly. Once the bunch of bananas was completely dry, I placed an avocado on top and then stored both together. Many of you might wonder why I added an avocado. In fact, both bananas and avocados continue to ripen after harvesting, and both produce ethylene gas. When placed together, the ripening process of both continues. This trick is often used by people who want bananas and avocados to ripen more evenly in the same amount of time, instead of storing them separately. Tip number 3. Preserve bananas in airtight glass jars. First, take a bunch of bananas and gently separate each banana from the stem. I do this carefully so that the stem of each banana remains intact, avoiding bruising or tearing the peel, as damaged areas tend to brown faster during storage. After separating them, prepare 2 clean and completely dry glass jars. Ensuring there is no standing water inside the jars will help reduce excess moisture during storage. Next, I arrange the bananas in each jar. I only put about 2 bananas in each jar, enough for them to fit snugly inside without being too compressed. I also try to arrange them so that they don't rub against each other to minimize bruising during storage. Once arranged, I seal the jars tightly. Next, I press the top lid down to create a tight seal, minimizing the amount of outside air entering the jar. Many of you might wonder why I store bananas in a sealed jar. The purpose of this method is to create a more stable environment, limiting the banana's direct contact with cold air and humidity changes in the refrigerator. This can help the banana peel lose less water and somewhat reduce browning. Tip number 4 I want to share is how to store peeled and sliced bananas for easy use. First, I peeled 2 ripe bananas. Then, I used a knife to slice the bananas into small slices, each about 2 to 3 centimeters thick. I sliced them directly into a clean plastic container. After slicing, I sealed the container tightly. Using a container with a tight-fitting lid helps limit the banana's direct contact with the air in the refrigerator, and also reduces the bananas absorbing odors from other foods. Finally, I placed the container of bananas in the refrigerator's crisper drawer for storage. However, you should also note that peeled and sliced bananas will brown faster than whole bananas because the flesh is in direct contact with the air. Therefore, this preservation method is suitable when you want to prepare bananas in advance for short-term use, such as eating them directly, making smoothies, or combining them with oatmeal and yogurt. The final tip in today's video is a way to use ripe bananas to make dried bananas using an air fryer. This method is great if you have a lot of ripe bananas and want to preserve them in a different way instead of keeping them whole. First, peel the bananas and place them on a cutting board. Then, use a knife to slice the bananas into slices about 2 to 3 centimeters thick. Try to cut the banana slices relatively evenly so that when drying, the slices will be cooked and dry almost at the same time. Next, prepare a bowl of clean water and add about a tablespoon of lemon juice. Then, stir well to completely dissolve the lemon juice in the water. Once the mixture is ready, soak all the sliced bananas in it for about 5 to 7 minutes. This step helps coat the banana slices evenly with a layer of diluted lemon juice. Lemon juice, being mildly acidic, is often used to help slow down the browning of bananas after cutting, thus preserving their color after drying. After soaking, remove the bananas and let them drain completely. I don't put the bananas in the air fryer immediately while they are still wet, as the moisture on the surface will prolong the drying process. Next, I arrange the banana slices one by one on the air fryer tray. I try to arrange them in a single layer and avoid overlapping the slices so that the hot air can circulate evenly around each slice. Now, I will set the temperature to 160 degrees Celsius and dry for 20 minutes. After the first drying cycle, I remove the tray of bananas. At this point, the banana slices have started to firm up and become slightly dry. I gently flip each slice so that both sides are exposed to the hot air. Then, I put them back in the air fryer and dried them for another 10 minutes. After the drying time was up, I took the tray of bananas out of the air fryer. At this point, you can see that the banana slices have turned a beautiful golden brown color. The surface of the bananas is drier than when they were first put in the air fryer, and the characteristic aroma of ripe bananas is quite noticeable. I gently picked up each banana slice and placed it on a plate to cool naturally for a few minutes. When first taken out of the air fryer, the banana slices were still quite soft due to retaining heat. As they gradually cooled, the surface of the bananas continued to firm up, giving the finished product a chewy or slightly crispy texture at the edges, depending on the thickness of each slice and the drying time. You can observe that each banana slice has a fairly uniform color, is not burnt, and still retains its beautiful shape. When held, the banana slices no longer have much moisture on the surface, but the inside still retains the natural softness of ripe bananas. Each piece has a light aroma and a naturally sweet flavor that is more concentrated after the drying process, making it very palatable. So, I've finished sharing tips on preserving bananas, as well as a way to use ripe bananas to make dried bananas using an air fryer. Each method is suitable for different needs, so you can choose the one that best suits your family. Hopefully, the tips in this video will help you preserve bananas more conveniently and reduce food waste. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to the Ruby Home channel to follow more useful and practical tips in future videos. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.